To this day, one of the best analogies that I have ever found to describe anxiety and why there are some people that are more anxious than other people is to describe your anxiety like a fire alarm. Fire alarms have one purpose, and it is not to determine if there is or is not a fire in the house. It is to determine if there is a possibility of a fire in the house. Your fire alarm will go off if there is an actual fire and the house is burning down, but it will also go off if there is some burnt toast. Mine especially. Mine is so sensitive, especially when I cook lamb for some reason. When you are predisposed to more anxiety, to worst case scenario thinking, to being on edge, being in survival mode, you have a very sensitive fire alarm. Your fire alarm is going to go off a lot more frequently than someone who doesn't experience anxiety. So your fire alarm is your threat detection system, aka your primitive part of your brain, right? So your fire alarm, if you are someone that struggles with anxiety, and I'm assuming because you're watching this video, you're on my page, you must struggle with anxiety, or you're my mom, your fire alarm is going to go off if there's an unanswered text, if there's a work meeting, if you have to ask for a raise, if you have to say no to someone, if there's any kind of uncertainty. Maybe you've got a phobia and that's when your fire alarm goes off. You never want to get rid of your fire alarm. Like in your house, you don't want to get rid of your fire alarm. It's there for a purpose. It's there for an important purpose. Sometimes it is appropriate for us to experience anxiety, low mood, anger. We need those emotions. We just don't need our fire alarm going off when there's burnt toast or when there's something else going on that isn't an actual life or death situation. What you want to do is you want to desensitize your fire alarm, because right now what's happening is you are spending too much time in the primitive part of your brain where your fire alarm is constantly detecting threat, worst case scenario, what if this happens, what if that happens, right? You want to be more in your intellectual mind. When you're in your prefrontal cortex, which is your intellectual brain, you're not thinking worst case scenarios. You are not experiencing anxiety or low mood. You're actually feeling much more grounded, much more logical, much more rational. You are able to look for solutions. When you're in there, you're not anxious. What I do with my clients, everything that I do is based around the whole methodology of getting you out of spending nearly all your time or a lot of your time in your primitive part of your brain, where that threat detector is going off, your fire alarm's always going off, and getting you into your prefrontal cortex. That is everything behind what I do with EFT and hypnosis.